The fishing news is brought to you by Interlux Marine Paint and Fanatics of Ocean City, celebrating 25 years at the Jersey Shore.
I'm Jim Hutchinson with the New Jersey Delaware Bay edition of the Fisherman magazine, and here we are in this third week of March of 2016, and we have a lot to cover, so let's get right to the action. Last week at this time we talked about the fact that the first striped bass, first keeper at Graveling Point, had not yet been weighed in. Well, that all changed on Saturday afternoon for 8-year-old Dylan O'Connell, who weighed in a 29-inch striper at Scott's Bait and Tackle. He took that last gift certificate. Greg, his father, and Dylan were out at Graveling Point Saturday afternoon and fishing with bloodworm. It was late afternoon at low tide. Congratulations, Dylan, on that beautiful fish. Greg told me later on that when they brought the fish home and opened it up, strangely, it had peanut bunker, little baby peanut bunker in there, about 4 or 5 inches long. We'll talk about that in a couple of minutes as well. Also, I found out from his dad that young Dylan said to Dad right before they went out, said, "Dad, if I catch a keeper today, I'm going to kiss that fish." There you go, Dylan. A man who keeps his promises. He should be running for president this week. Kids rule. I can only say that. Young Cam Conrad put his goalie equipment away for the week, was way upriver at the Mullica on Friday. Also landed a keeper striped bass on bloodworms. Checked in with that fish over at Fisherman's headquarters. Lot more fish caught upriver, and if you remember back a few weeks, we talked about Andy over at Riptide Bait and Tackle over in Brigantine, said usually 2 to 3 weeks after those first river keepers are caught, that's when the action starts in Brigantine. So if you look at your calendar, you're bound to catch that first keeper striper any day now on those front beaches. Andy reminds us that he does have a $50 gift card for that first and only fish that's caught, the first one weighed in over at the shop. He's got the Riptide rodders back in place. Fresh clams are definitely the way to go. It's a year-round bait, the clam, 365 days a year, even during our leap year. Bloodworms, always very popular in March and April, but now we're finding out there's more. There's more bait available. We can find bunker. They're everywhere in those striper bellies. They're showing up places like the Navesink here on the Shrewsbury, Barnegat Bay, Mullica River. The bunker are everywhere, and it's been very strange that way. In fact, finding out from several people, finding those small peanut bunker, usually the young of the year, we're used to seeing in the fall. So you got to wonder if some of these peanuts, because it was a mild winter, if they stayed over in some of our estuaries. They are getting in the way for some casters, folks up on the Rare and talking about them, getting tangled up in their lines while they're clamming and worming for stripers. And Tony Hong here, he was throwing a plug and hooked himself up with a bunker. Now we're getting some reports of those bass and bluefish moving up the Delmarva Peninsula, especially off of Delaware now. They're piling on herring and bunker, so it's only a matter of time. Get yourself armed and be ready. Winter flounder bite has been okay, pretty good. The guys from the Fisherman magazine, our field editors, Bob Misak and Nick Honicheski, checked in with me last week, said they landed a cooler full, 4 fish, while fishing in Barnegat Bay. Rob Zushnit here was the first keeper at Murphy's Hook House for the season, a 2.37 pounder that he brought into the shop just the other day, caught on bloodworms. We're finding out some of those locations that typically score for winter flounder, getting some reports up around the Maniloking Bridge in the Back Bay, especially on the moving water. So the winter flounder are there. The folks at Murphy's also told us that there are some stripers still being caught in the back on bloods, but they're also moving along to some of those swim shads as well. Offshore, it's been a slow pick of cod, pollock, and ling. Leon Delfugentis checked in with us. Jimmy McGinty here with a 47-inch cod, 18-pounder last weekend on the Ocean Explorer. Yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day to you. Some of those boats are continuing to sail. Like I said, a slow pick offshore, but boats like the Jamaica 2, the Big Jamaica, the Paramount, they're all getting offshore on weekends looking for that cod bite. With that offshore cod, that should give way soon enough to some bluefin action. I know it's probably very early to talk about that, but taking a look at a ROFS report from just the other day, Mitch says direct Gulf Stream has pushed farther north and is now interacting directly with a large Gulf Stream eddy. So hopefully some of that warm water will start continually pushing north and also to the west as well. Still a little bit far. Definitely a little bit farther than you might expect. And speaking of farther, let's get into the weekend action if we could. The folks at Truth Reels and Century Rods have a very special event, a throwdown in the park this Friday morning from 9:30 till 11:30 a.m. at Johnson Park in Piscataway. If you can cast 275 yards with the equipment that they have, you cast 275 yards down to the arbor knot, you will walk out of there with a truth reel and a Century rod. Now, if you want to bring your own conventional casting rod and pair it with one of the reels there, if you can get that 275 yard cast this Friday until 11 a.m. in Piscataway, you will walk away with a truth reel. Of course, this event will kick off into the Somerset show. The Big Daddy, our Saltwater Fishing Expo, comes to the Garden State Exhibit Center in Somerset Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this weekend. Come on by the Fisherman booth. We are blowing out all the last backpacks and the dry bags. Come over, get your subscription early, because I know we're going to run out of these goodies over at the show. While you're at the show, plenty of great seminars. Our friend Frank Crescitelli, the madman of Fin Chasers TV, mentor of so many folks throwing the cast net, and of course master of the controls with that Buddy Davis that he's got from DNR Boats. He will be at the expo this Saturday and Sunday doing some great casting seminars. If you miss this event, DNR Boats has a bunch of seminars throughout the spring. Frank and Captain Anthony Grassi of Fin Chasers will be back over there at DNR Boats, 271 US 22 in Greenbook, 6:30 p.m. on March 22nd. So plenty of seminars, and be sure to catch that Fin Chasers TV on Destination America. Also on Saturday, down in Delaware, volunteers are planting dune grass along the dunes from Kitts Hammock to Fenwick Island, Kitts Hummock to Fenwick Island. If you want some info on getting involved in that with DNREC, call 302-739-9921. Also on the beach next Saturday, thanks to the guys at New Jersey Beach Buggy Association, they're going to be assembling at the park at Holgate at 8:30 a.m. or at 8 o'clock in the morning next Saturday, the 26th. They're going to do one of the beach cleanups at Holgate. Any clubs or individuals wishing to volunteer should call Ken at 848-333-4707. Now, if you're looking for a little bay boat that you can run on the Navesink like this here, you might want to take a look at one of the new boats, a 15-footer, maybe a 24-footer from Allied Boats. There's an Allied Boats demo going on all this weekend in Point Pleasant. It's actually in Brielle, March 19th through the 21st at All Points Marine Services. They're holding that at the Brielle Yacht Club this weekend, so go take a look at this new Allied boat. Again, standing here along the Navesink River, big week. Everybody's been talking about it. The National Marine Sanctuary discussion happening at the Red Bank Library. We're going to keep you updated on what's happening with what the plans are, what people are talking about at the Navesink and the Shrewsbury and Sandy Hook Bay. If you want more information on that, stay tuned to thefisherman.com. We were the first to break that story last week, and as we continue to get updates throughout the next couple of weeks, and whenever this happens, you can always go to thefisherman.com for the news. If you're on Facebook, go over to thefacebook.com/The Fisherman Magazine, because as we have breaking news and it's posted online, we'll always share it at our Facebook page. So go over to our Facebook page, hit the like button, and that way you're always getting the feeds as we get updated information. So we'll see you there, see you at Facebook, see you at the Somerset show for the Saltwater Expo, and we will, of course, see you every week over at thefisherman.com.
The fishing news is brought to you by Intelux Marine Paint and Fanatics of Ocean City, celebrating 25 years at the Jersey Shore.